everyone, this is Upwind that I've just blown in. And today we're kicking off a new LP. After a very, very long time away. As in, this was supposed to happen in 2019, but real life kinda kicked my butt, so it didn't end up happening. I've decided to come back to the Seduce Me franchise. If you're not aware, or if this is your first video of mine you're watching, hi there. I already covered the first game of the two in the Seduce Me series, which is up on my channel. It was an extensive all paths, show as much content as I humanly could let's play. Yeah, I don't think I'll be doing quite as in-depth this time, just because there's a lot here. A lot. But I am going to try to show as much as I can. Will I be doing all paths? I don't know. We'll see. But anyway, let's get into it, shall we? We have been away. It's now time to come back. And I need to drop the volume because this is really loud in my headphones. Alright, let us begin. Begin?
Must I do this?
Yes.
Come on! You have to be the one to set the example! You're the goddess of the rebellion, the matriarch
Exactly.
of the new demon world, the savior of demon kind!
Aww. You has many titles.
And that is why I must give a tutorial? It should be simple enough to understand. It's an
Really?
interactive story with minimal controls.
True.
You gotta let people know how to read your story correctly so they can play the visual novel without accidentally screwing up.
I know, right?
It's so important that they know all the things that they can do.
Exactly. Thank you, Kay. You're still the most helpful character.
My lady, it would help in our cause if the players knew what to do.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you, and I don't know who you are.
Very well.
And why does it look like he has a star fruit from Stardew Valley around his neck?
The basic controls come from your computer keyboard or mouse. There are multiple ways to go through the story using one or the other, or even both if you desire as much.
Cool. How do I actually just, start the game?
If you use your mouse to left-click the screen, or press the Enter or Space keys, you will proceed forward in the story. It is important that you
Yay.
pay attention to what is being said.
Really?
Because you may be forced
What?
to remember something.
Did you say something?
However, if you've seen narration or dialogue before, you may hold down the Control key to skip forward.
Yay,
If
skip
you don't care
button.
to hold down a button, you can press the Tab key to toggle the skip function. Doing so will fast forward you through the section until you press the Tab key again or reach an unread section of the story. Where
Exactly.
the function shuts off automatically.
Cool. Thanks.
If you can't be bothered with the keyboard, there's also a skip button you can click on near the dialog
Exactly.
box, alongside buttons where you can save or load your progress, set the story on auto mode, go to the options menu, or simply
But
go
who'd
back
want to
to
do
the
those
menu.
silly things? You know?
If you proceed far enough, you may be faced with a story-changing choice. Remember, every choice you make affects this war, and war is unforgiving.
In war never changes.
Now, you may decide your choices with the mouse by hovering over your answer with your mouse pointer and left-clicking it, or you may select your choice by using the arrow keys and confirming your choice by pressing the Enter key.
They gave you options.
Use this wisely. You will not be able to change your answer later.
Oh, that's where the power of save state and filing works for me. Yes, I can.
If you have a scroll wheel on your mouse, you can roll
Yes.
past sections you have already read by rolling the
Cool.
wheel backwards until you reach new unread text. You may also roll back up to 10 sections in case you miss something by rolling forward. But be warned, your choices cannot be altered.
Exactly.
Isn't that a bit unfair, my lady?
Power of save state, I'll be fine.
As I said, war is unforgiving.
And it never
we can't fix
changes.
our mistakes by going back in time. We can only remember the choices we made and what the consequences were.
This is why I prefer games to real life.
As you say.
Who are you?
Well, if the player saves right before they make a choice, they can just
Thank you,
reload
Kay.
their save and make another choice.
Exactly.
Did you say something?
Did she? I wasn't listening.
No, nothing at all.
If for some reason you wish to capture a moment on screen without the text box showing, you can press the H key, then press the S key to take a screenshot, which will be
Ew.
saved in the game folder. Don't
Good to know.
You can continue the story and show the text box again by repressing the H key.
Okay. Cool story, bro.
The right-click function on your mouse and the escape key both bring you to the save menu. Use this wisely. You will be asked if it is okay to overwrite a save if you choose to save over old progress.
Yeah. Like any other game.
I believe that is everything of significance. Is there anything that I have missed?
Me? Hopefully? Question mark?
I think that should be everything. Awesome!
Cool beans. Are we ready to go now?
May we leave now? We do have a war to fight, and I need to lead my armies to victory.
Exactly. We got shit to do, folks. Let's go.
Go, go, go! Win your war!
Woo!
Score the goal! Win the points!
Yay! Other cheerleading phrases. Shaking up pom-poms.
War doesn't work like that.
Sure it does. Shush.
Come, we're leaving.
Yay!
Yes, my lady.
Hopefully, this war doesn't end tragically.
We'll see.
Then again, I guess that's up to you, right?
Yay! Okay, gotta say that was not the best of tutorials. I would prefer something a bit more hands-on, but all the information was there. Oh, okay. I'm an idiot. I just needed to select an orb color and pick it. I know what I'm doing. I really don't. True. One moment while I figure out which path I want to do first. Because these are not labeled. Okay, sorry. That took me a moment to remember who was what color. Okay, Diana is purple. Surprising no one. Best romance of last game is who I'm going to be starting with. Sorry, not sorry. I will say I'm a little disappointed right off the bat that in the continuation of this game, they only recognize the succubus as well as the 5 incubuses. I think it's a step back, because I absolutely love the path of finding your own independence and being happy. I liked the relationships with Zuzu and Naomi. I liked the relationship with Andrew. I think those were all equally valid. And the fact that they're, or heck, even the verse where you decide, I want power and become a demon lord. I miss that option. So having it not represented here, I think, was a step backward. I do understand it might have been problematic to work around. Although I think it should have been possible to have been able to show what happens if you become the new demon, queen, lord, whatever. But anyway, let's actually begin before I run out of time in this session, since I've already covered the tutorial. Okay, here we go. Diana.
Hold on there!
Hi there.
Before you start the game, I need to ask you a few things. Don't want you getting lost now.
Okie doke. Thank you, Kay. You're so helpful. Also, why aren't you running your cafe?
First of all, have you read the first story?
Yes, I
Seduce Me
have.
the Otome? Like,
Yep.
seriously read it.
I did an all
skimming,
pass LP.
No pretending to read it. No. It's okay if you haven't, but there are a lot of things in this game that you won't understand unless you've fully experienced and understood that story first.
Yay? Yes. Yes, I have done all those things and stuff.
Oh, okay. Awesome. Next question.
Cool.
You do know this is Diana's route, right?
Exactly.
The succubus princess that tried to bring the boys back to the demon world?
Hey, she has her good points too. Yep, I know the basket of crazy I'm about to get into.
Oh, awesome. All right then. Diana's a very interesting character, huh?
Oh, fuck yeah, she is. She was the best thing of last game.
Anyway, I have one last question for you. Some people like hearing the trigger warnings before they start games, while others don't really care and just want to play. It's cool
I just
either
want to play
way,
at this point.
but do you want to know about some of the content listed in the game?
No, because I also have the box checkmarked not for kids. So, yeah, I should probably throw this out here right now. There are some mature themes and content in this game. If you're under the age of 18, please off-click now. This is not for you. If you're over that, cool. Hi, welcome. But yeah, like they point out, there is some triggering things in here. There's a scene in one of the routes I will probably talk about in depth, but that'll be when we get there. But for now, let us go on. Nah, I'm good.
All right then. Oh, just so you know, though, anytime you have the choice to have sex, you can totally say no and still get the good
Haha,
endings.
shenanigans.
Consent is very important, regardless of who you are.
Agreed. 100% agree, and I can think of at least a few people that should really read this and consider it.
I think that should be everything. All right. Phew, that took a while.
I know, right?
You forgot something.
Hello, sweetie. How you been?
Huh? What did I forget?
You forgot about the disclaimer.
Ah, always important.
Oh, crap! Oh, how could I have forgotten about that?
You have a lot on your plate.
It's fine, I'll take care of it.
Cool. Thanks, sweetie.
This game was produced by Michaela Laws using the Ren'Py visual novel engine. We truly hope you enjoy this story.
Me too. Thank you, ladies. Nice seeing you. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Diana. Now, don't you have a war to go fight?
Yes, we do. Onward.
I do. I just wanted to make sure everything was in order before the story began. I'll take my leave now.
Exactly.
Thanks, Di.
Thanks, Di. It's been great.
Do not call me Di.
Die.
Anyway, we really do hope you like the story.
Me too.
Have fun. See you at the end.
Woo! What is the name? Achievement unlocked. A Queen's Understanding. What's your name? Press enter to confirm. Or press enter to continue. I know what words mean. Shush. I think for the first run-through, I am indeed going to be Mika. Mostly because I don't remember what names I used for which run-throughs last time. Anyway, this should look familiar. This is our backyard, our gazebo. Beautiful starry night. Now, let us get into this. Because although this game is mostly voice acted, it's not 100% voice acted. Which I actually personally prefer. That if you're the protagonist, you should not be voiced. It is why I think Dragon Age Origins, Hero Ferelden, is far more personal and dear to me than Dragon Age 2 or Dragon Age Inquisition's Hawks or Inquisitors, because they're voiced. It really takes something away from being able to put it into your own tone of voice, your own wording. As much as your own wording can be applied to something that's pre-written, but yeah. Anyway, I am gonna get into reading now. Time to watch me stumble over words. I was in love with a succubus. I mean, aren't we all really? It was true. I had fallen for the charms of a succubus, and I was about to dive headfirst into the demon world with her, to save her kingdom. Yay! I'm being proactive.
Do you have any regrets?
Nope. I'm good. None. I smiled as Deanna held me in her arms and carried us both through the night sky. Aw, I would like a picture of this, please. We had shared a sweet kiss, the first of hopefully many in the future, and were about to cast a spell to enter the demon world. Diana looked to the ground that was far below us and pointed her free hand down towards it, closing her eyes.
Revetara tenebras, lirato locum, pater portas.
Yay, Latin! As the last word left her mouth, a large purple pentagram appeared in the grass, before twisting and becoming a black void. I gripped onto Diana, scared at what I was seeing.
Last chance.
Oh, sweetie. No, let's go. I gulped at the sight, not sure of what to make of this. Was this really what I wanted to do? Yeah, hello, let's go. My curiosity, however, guided my decision and forced me to take a deep breath. I closed my eyes and let calm wash over me before looking up at Diana. Let's go. Diana smiled and wrapped both arms around me, laying a protective hand over my head.
Hang on.
Woo! Hanging on. I tightened my grip on Diana, obeying her command. As I held tight, I felt air quickly begin to rush past our bodies as Diana tilted back and began to let us fall toward the ground. Was she insane? No, I totally think she knows what she's doing. I looked at Diana, seeing her smirk at me before she closed her eyes. I did the same, naturally preparing for an impact with the ground. Oh, come on, trust your sweetie. I wish they would have given you the option here. What I felt was a cool rush of energy brushing over my skin, as if I had fallen into water. I slowly opened my eyes and found myself staring into a vast, dark space, holding on to a woman who was no longer wearing clothes. Ooh, scandalous. Hey, sweetie. You look much better this way, for the record. I was clinging to a woman who had no clothing, but instead had purple marks across her skin and horns adorning her head. However, I could tell that this woman was still Diana, just by looking into her eye. Let's be honest, there is no other eye under that hair. I'm convinced she's a Cyclops. Diana smiled at me and kissed my forehead before tightening her hold on me and muttering softly,
Ad Lilith Castra.
Exactly. I held on to her body as I felt us begin to move through space, as if a giant fan had pushed us forward. Onward we continued through the darkness, with me unsure of where we were going and Diana guiding the way. We began to slow, and soon a small light appeared, slowly growing as we got closer to it. I had to shut my eyes as it began to consume us. I would really like to have seen this, then had it explained. Just saying. I felt weightless. I couldn't feel anything except the woman in my arms, and it felt somehow exquisite. I wanted to drown in this feeling, become lost in it. However, our journey through the light was coming to an end. The light around us faded away, and soon I found myself lying on Diana as she lay on a stone floor. That sounds uncomfortable, especially she's, for the most part naked. The air, however, smelt of fire and blood. Those aren't good things. I looked up, seeing fire everywhere in sight. What the hell? This was the demon world?
It's Zager!
A loud shout forced me to look over and see a man running at me with a spear and a rage-filled expression. Yes, he has angry face, doesn't he? I screamed and rolled off of Diana, scooting away to avoid being skewered as he continued towards me. I screamed.
No!
That's Diana screaming, not me. I looked up to see Diana kneeling in front of me and gripping the man's spear, pointing it away from her. The man stared wide-eyed at Diana as she glared back.
My lady, you live?
Yeah, I know, she's fine.
Of course I do. I told you I would return, and thus I have.
Exactly. You know your place, young man. The man gave a small sigh of relief, lowering his weapon and propping it up to lean against it. As I examined him now, that he wasn't gunning for me, let's hold on to this moment of peace. He was wounded, exhausted, panting heavily and gripping his spear tightly.
I'm so glad.
Uh-huh. Diana, sweetie, who is this? As he finally toppled over, Diana gasped and rushed over, kneeling beside him. Who is this?
Saddle!
Okay, this is Saru. Nice to meet you. Maybe next time not with a spear. I rushed over as well, wanting to see what was going on. Who was he? Why did he attack me? Why was the room on fire? You know? I think why is the room on fire is a little more important. That should be top priority, and, shouldn't we be getting out?
Saddle, what happened?
We were attacked by the Demon Lord.
Of course, because
Took
he's the
advantage
worst.
of your absence.
Of course. I began to cough violently. We needed to get out of this room, wherever we were. Diana, we need to get out of here. Diana nodded and grabbed my hand in shadows, chanting under her breath. The room around us began to shift, as if it were changing instead of us moving. Soon we were outside a castle staring at it, as flames erupted from each window. Oh, that's sad. That's a big, beautiful palace. What was happening? War is happening, Nika. War is happening. Diana's face was of pure shock, staring at the castle in absolute terror. All of the color, besides the purple marks on her skin, had faded to a pale white in horror.
We drove them back. The flames are too powerful.
You don't have any ice magic on your squad? Just saying. At that moment, something in Diana's eyes changed. Her anger sparked and she stood, quickly walking around us and towards the castle. Diana? Oh, look at my sweetie being proactive. Go get it.
Come! I command thee, white winds! Crush these fires beneath your hands!
See, this is why she is awesome. I stared as the wind in the air quickly began to pick up, and a purple glow began to surround Diana's body. It was like a storm was rushing towards us, but there was no rain, or thunder, just wind. The winds forced back the flames that danced in the windows, and smoke began to rise from each one, signaling the death of the fire. The windows continued to be filled with wind and air, most likely to kill the flames deep within the walls. I, however, could only stare at Diana. I can't blame you. Her body was rigid and her gaze was intently focused on the stone castle. Soon the winds began to die out, and all that was left was smoke rising from the windows into the dark purple and black sky.
You did it. How?
My girlfriend's awesome. Were you not paying attention? Daniel looked to Saru, intensity still embedded in her eyes.
Where are the king and queen?
Yeah, exactly. I heard Sarah's breath hitch, and I turned to look at him. He had a look of pure pain and guilt. What had happened? Well, I'm gonna guess they're kidnapped or dead. One of the two. Diana walked over and stared down at him, now almost glaring daggers at him, as she clenched her fist at her side.
Speak, Saddle!
Really, Saru?
The Imp Demons. While we were fighting the flames and the army, the Imp Demons snuck through our defenses.
Dear Lord, you're surrounded by incompetence. My heart, despite not fully understanding the situation, began to tighten. Something was incredibly wrong. Yeah, you think? Saru shut his eyes as a pair of demons I assumed to be allies rushed over and began casting magic over his body, closing his wounds.
They snuck into their room.
Oh, I don't like where this is going. Diana suddenly turned and bolted towards the castle, causing me to jump up. Diana! I began to sprint after her, following her inside the castle and trying to keep up with her. Her panicked breath kept me following her direction, despite her fast twists and turns through the ashy corridors.
No.
Right there with you, sweetie. No, indeed. I could hear Diana sobbing, praying as she ran. I did my best to keep up, not wanting to lose her and not wanting her to be alone right now. We turned into a log hallway that had a pair of golden doors at the end. They were unscathed, as if the flames had not disturbed the door, or perhaps the room behind it.
Please be alive. Please!
Diana bolted for the doors and began to pull them open, grunting at the weight. I stopped running, skidding forward from the abrupt stop. Whomever she wanted alive, I hoped that they were as well. Well, if it's the king and queen, it's probably her parents, Mika. Keep up. I know they told me to pay attention, but I'm assuming my character's also paying attention. As the doors finally opened, however, the foul stench of blood erupted from behind them, the scent filling my nostrils. Yeah. Diana flung the doors wide open and could only stare at the sight we both saw. Blood. Again, I wish they would, show the visual. Blood. Blood covered the floor, the walls, the ceiling. The entire room was painted in gore, skin, bone, and massive amounts of blood. Only 3 things, barely code red, stood in the middle of the room on the ground. 2 broken crowns, and a small tiara that was barely large enough to fit a newborn's head. Oh, she had a sis.
No.
Diana slowly walked into the room, the blood on the ground painting her bare feet, and she fell to her knees in front of the items, staring down at them. I couldn't bring myself to enter the room with her. I watched as she lifted them to her chest, curling her shoulder over herself, and shaking almost violently.
Father. Mother. Annabelle.
Poor family. As she continued to grieve over the ornaments in her hands, a dark, almost deadly and evil-looking aura surrounded her body. It began to flicker and grow, like a dark flame that wanted to engulf the room she knelt in. As it reached an apex and began to violently flicker through the room around her, Diana arced back and screamed to the ceiling, her voice heavily laced with magic pain and rage. I'll kill you! And I will help! Watching her body burn in an intense black and purple flame like energy made my heart stop in fear. I had never seen her like this, and I was scared as to where her anger would drive her next. Our first choice! Yay! Stop her or watch and I'm gonna stop her, because I'm afraid she is gonna go off half-cocked. As heartbreaking as the situation was, I couldn't let anger consume her. Not like this. If she wanted to vent her rage, then it was better to aim it at the ones who wronged her, not to let it burn the room where her family died. I stepped into the room, blocking the waves of energy from my face with my arms, and eventually made my way to the screaming Diana. Diana. My words couldn't reach her. I stepped closer, almost towering over her, before dropping to my knees, bracing myself and wrapping my arms around Diana. Her screaming stopped, and her body froze within my arms. Diana quaked like a shivering child in my arms as I pressed my forehead against her hair. Diana, we'll get your revenge. But you must save that rage for the fight. Good advice. Diana, ... I was met with silence as my reply. After a moment, Diana finally slumped into my arms while the energy around her died out.
You're right.
Exactly. I know I am. Diana and I left the room with her, unable to turn and look back. We walked through the ashy corridors of the castle. Diana silenced by the sight of by her own grief. My heart was heavy for her. Still, the demon lord who had done this was still a threat at large, and who knew when he would return? Diana led the way to a room, which, as expected, was burnt as could be. However, Diana waved her hand through the air, casting some sort of a silent spell. Ew, fancy. Well, if you're the crown princess, I guess you should have nice digs. Through some sort of prestidigitation, the ash and soot in the room vanished, and the furniture and decor were repaired. We at last stepped in, with Diana slowly lying down on the bed, unable to carry any further. Looking at Diana's face, her eyes were puffy and red, while her skin almost became void of any color beyond the taint of her demon marks. As she wasn't breathing, one would assume that she was dead. Nah, I don't assume that. Diana stared at the ceiling, a world of emotion swimming in her eyes. Despite what had happened, at last she spoke.
I need to send you back.
No. No, 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 no. No. What? Now was not the time to be thinking about me, and I knew it. Even though I'm the main character. Besides, I came here for a reason. I wasn't going to go back knowing that Diana needed support. I had no regrets in coming here, and I would help her through this. No, Diana.
It's too dangerous here.
And? When has danger ever stopped me? I don't care, Diana. Diana sat up slowly and looked at me, a form of weak anger in her eyes. However, she knew that it was fruitless to argue with me. Yeah, you know what you're marrying. After all, she made a deal with me, and I could see the obligation to obey buried behind her anger. I would rather this be, her understanding, but Diana closed her eyes and lowered her head.
The Demon Lord will most likely return.
Cool, and when he does, we'll kick his ass. And we'll be ready for him. Exactly. I gently took Diana's hand and lifted her chin so she had to look at me. The anger that was plaguing her melted into sadness and broken hope as she stared back into my gaze. There were remnants of rogue tears adorning her face, and seeing her so scared made me frown. I knew that we would get through this. We just needed to rest for now. We would deal with the issues this world brought after.
My lady?
Ugh, go away, private moment. Diana and I turned our heads to see Sero by the door. By the open door, and I stepped away from Diana, giving her space. Behind him, multiple soldiers, servants, and other demons rushed down the hall, most likely to check for other issues and possibly try to fix the damage on the castle.
Yes, Sero?
Yeah, I guess if you have magic to fix and repair and clean things, it's gotta be a lot easier.
Who is this human?
Hi. I don't like you. For a brief moment, I could see a look of disdain in his eyes as he looked to me. However, it only lasted a second as he looked at Diana, waiting for her to reply to him.
Sero, this is my guest. She
Hi.
came back with me to...
And I'm Mika, by the way, not the guest. Diana looked to me, trying to find the words in my eyes. What was I to her? A girlfriend? My curiosity bubbled as I also waited the completion of her answer.
She came to aid me in this war.
Wow. Okay, we're gonna... As soon as we are alone again, if it gives me the option, we're gonna have words about that.
But what of your fiancé? What of the other sons?
Yeah, they're not necessary. We got this.
They are gone. They have disappeared into the human world, and I can no longer trace them. I have failed.
Right. The guilt and grief in Diana's voice deepened, most likely reminding herself that she was the result of failing moments ago. Sero, however, stepped up to Diana and knelt in front of her, surprising me. What was he doing? Was he a guard, first off? Why was he being bold enough to step to her? Yeah, you don't step to my girl.
You didn't fail, my lady. The Demon Lord attacked us despite giving us his word that he would wait for you to return. He broke
Yeah, the
his
guy's a
end of the
scumbag.
agreement.
Complete and utter scumbag.
I know.
Staring at Diana and Serio, I could see that they had a very close and deep connection. I'm not jealous. I twitch. Was Serio a friend, or was he something more? I could recognize the emotion within Serio's eyes as he looked up at Diana. He looked to be in love with her, or at least had some form of ultimate care for his lady. Serio gently took one of Diana's hands and placed his lips upon it. Hands off! Lips off, too. Instantly, I could almost see energy flow from his body into hers from the kiss alone. Was this how energy transfer worked when you weren't the giver or receiver? The color in Diana's skin returned, and she let out a sigh, with her body relaxing at last. Serio, however, continued to keep his lips over her hand. Something in my gut irked me about him. Me too. You know what? I'm not okay with this. I'm just gonna clear my throat. Not that I was against Diana getting energy, but Seattle seemed to be extremely cozy with her. And, being that she was someone who I potentially wished to be closer with, this was now an obstacle I had to slowly break Diana away from. Dan and Stereo both looked up at me, with Stereo lifting his head from Diana's hand. At least it worked. Yeah, hi, I'm still in the room. Realizing what was going on, Diana looked to Serio and smiled nervously before pulling her hand away from him.
Thank you, Sarah.
Now, GTFO. Serio, however, stared at me, most likely knowing why I did what I had done. Another flash of disgust flashed in his eyes before he looked to Diana and bowed his head.
I am forever here to serve.
Yes, you are. Now, go serve somewhere else. Bye-bye. Stereo stood and stepped back, looking to his mistress and to me.
Do we plan to retaliate, my lady?
Duh.
We will. I expect the Demon Lord will come for a second attack, not realizing that I have returned.
Yeah, and we'll surprise him with that. What can we do then? Diana looked to me, a small glimmer of fear in her eyes. But her resolve rekindled, and she let a serious visage cover her expression. And that is part of what I love about her. She understands the situation's hopeless, but she's not going to give up.
I will meet him on the battlefield should he come again.
Woo! You go get him, sweetie.
My lady, you've just returned.
And? She's awesome, you should know that.
That I have. But the Demon Lord will not care if he learns of my return. If anything, news of my return will spur him to attack sooner than later.
Exactly.
I must be there and stop him.
Yes, exactly. Diana looked to Stereo with a cold expression, making Stereo stand up straight like the guard he was meant to be.
Tell everyone to mend their wounds and prepare for a second invasion tomorrow. I expect the Demon Lord will be ruthless enough to attack in the morning. Let everyone know as well that their princess has returned.
Woo! Sarah nodded and returned to the door to do his job. Before he exited the room, however, Diana called out one last thing to him, which seemed to make him freeze.
And when you are done, please retire to my room. I will rest here for the night with my guest.
Thank you.
As you wish, my lady.
Bye. With that, Sarah left and closed the door behind him. The way Sarah answered Diana seemed forced, but I could understand why, after all. If he had feelings for her, I became an obstacle for him, as I was with her. That didn't stop me, however, from wondering where I stood with Diana. Ugh, God damn it, why? Why are we being insecure now? I don't like this. She was going to stay here with me. This was my room? Diana let out a sigh and moved in the bed to rest against the back wall of the bed.
Come, we must rest.
Yes, rest. I nodded and walked over, lying beside her. However, instead of Diana laying down, She guided my head to rest on her lap. I'm okay with this. You're not going to sleep.
Demons don't sleep, dear. At least not in this world.
Ah, then, well, as a succubus and incubus society, I get why you'd have beds. Why not?
Because if we shut our eyes for too long, then we open ourselves up for someone to take advantage of us, or kill us when we're not aware.
Ah. Evolution was kind to your species. I gulped, now worried and frightened to sleep. Now worried and too frightened to sleep? Whatever. The grammar of this confuses me. Diana chuckled, however, and petted my head.
You can sleep, however. I will be resting, but my eyes will remain open.
Okay, cool trick. Can you truly rest like that?
Demons and humans are different, dear.
I know.
Demons can function for years without needing to rest, as long as they continually feed on energy. However, demons can rest to stop spending energy. Thus why we have beds.
Okay, I assumed it was for other things. My curiosity began to peck at me again, but my exhaustion took control of my body. As I felt my eyes gradually shut, I could hear Diana whisper.
I hope that you don't mind me taking your energy as you sleep.
Nope, feel free, sweetie, much as you want. Before I let sleep consume me, I shook my head. It was all right. Diana needed as much energy as she could for whatever the Demon Lord had in mind. I felt almost a bit honored that she was taking energy from me, as odd as it was. At last, sleep consumed me. Despite what was happening around me, the world of sleep was peaceful and calm. For the moment, I could truly be at rest. At least for a moment.
My sweet Isaiah.
What now? Huh? I looked around the darkness of my dream, trying to pin down the direction of Sterio's voice. Why was he in my dream? There was no reason why he should have been here. The sound of footsteps echoed in my head, causing me to grip over it and look around frantically. What was happening? At last, a light in the darkness opened up to reveal it as an open door. Opening it was Sadio with a kind smile on his face, staring into the dark space. What? I looked at him, but he didn't seem to notice me as he stepped into the room and walked past me. I followed his walk and gasped at what he was walking towards. No. Now illuminated by light, I looked at the sight of Diana in a jail cell on her hands and knees, weak and frail as she stared at the one approaching her.
Sano, what is happening? Why am I...
Shh. Everything is just fine, my lady.
No, it's not. It is super not. However, I hate to cut it here, but I'm going to have to. Because I have some, in real life, stuff I need to do off camera, and yeah, I'm really sorry. Until next, Tack Hero.